So today I have a really exciting vegan meat haul for you guys, and I've partnered up with Meiwa, which is based in New York. They are one of New York State's largest distributors in vegan meats, and I feel like, it has to be for the country as well, because I'm just scrolling through their site right now and there's just so much. So basically, I guess how this partnership came to be is I had looked into Meiwa, I don't know, like several years back, and I've kind of like put it in the back burner and I've kind of forgotten about it a little bit. And then a little whiles back, a viewer actually was like, hey, you should look into this company. They are, one of the largest distributors of kind of like vegan meats, vegan Asian meats. And then I was like, hey, yeah, like that's definitely, right up my alley. So I contacted Meiwa and, I was basically explaining like, hello, this is definitely my jam. This is, this is what I do. Would you guys be interested in doing a couple of recipes with me? And then, while at the same time kind of sharing this information with the viewers, and then maybe kind of getting you guys some deals in terms of trying some of these vegan meats as well. So that's really how this came to be, and hopefully we'll be doing, some recipes in the future together. But today, to start off with, they ended up sending me this huge box of vegan stuff. It was like vegan snacks, vegan meats, just so that I can try them out and then kind of do a haul with you guys so that I could test and sample so that you guys would know. We're actually going to be doing a giveaway as well. So Meiwa has these box samplers. So there's like chicken samplers, there's like a high protein sampler, there's the Beat the Heat sampler, which contains a bunch of snacks that I will be showcasing today. But they're going to be giving away the chicken Craze sampler, and that has the vegan chicken nuggets, vegan lemon chicken, half chicken,
roasted salted chicken, chicken steak, gunpowder chicken, chicken teriyaki, and the spiced chicken leg
to a lucky viewer, so that you can basically try out all of their chicken products. I will be putting that giveaway information down in the description box below, but basically, just leave a comment telling me that you want it. And then for those of you who don't win the box, because a lot of you won't, there's actually a coupon code, East Meets Kitchen 10. I'll put that also down below. It's a 10% coupon code off of your first order. And the thing with Meiwa is that because they are shipping out kind of a lot of these foods, they have a $30 minimum. So just make sure that after your 10% off, that still reaches the $30 minimum, and then you're good to go. Okay, so that's it for that stuff. And so other than for like your typical like chicken teriyaki, chicken nuggets, and beef chunks, Meiwa also carries like a bunch of these other meats. I've seen lobster, I've seen squid. They do a vegan pork belly as well. So definitely scroll down to their website. I'll put the link down below, because they just have so much, and it'd be so cool to like try and maybe like do like a lobster bisque or something with this vegan stuff. Now, a lot of these things are actually imported from Taiwan, which makes a lot of sense because Taiwan is a country that makes a lot of vegan meats. But another cool thing about them is in a lot of these like meats, I was just taking a look at all of the ingredients. They are ingredients that like usually for vegan meats you'll see a lot of crazy stuff in it, but like especially for something like the imitation stewed beef, soy protein, wheat protein, you have soy sauce, you have sugar, salt, galangal, star anise, yeast, canola oil. Like these are all ingredients that and it's not like too crazy. There's just a lot that go into vegan meats, but definitely I like the ingredient list. So anyways, they sent me this box a couple days back. It's you can either ship it through UPS or USPS, and it comes in a it's this pink styrofoam container. I'll kind of show it. I'll show it to you guys afterward, just to keep all of like the meats and everything nice and chilled. So the stuff that we are reviewing today is actually from the Beat the Heat sampler. If you go onto their website, so there's a couple of snack options. So I have vegetarian spice jerky, I have vegan beef jerky, so both of these are snacks. They sent me, let's see, so these are imitation spicy beef, vegan, and then vegan imitation stewed beef, and these are just things that I need to reheat and then serve. And then they sent me 2 boxes of these. So this is the vegetable curry, and then they also sent me the vegetarian. This is kind of like the Buddha's Delight, so I thought it'd be really cool to try as well. I think sometimes they intermix vegetarian and vegan, so you definitely just have to look on the site for the ingredients, but this is actually a vegan. One more thing was, so they sent me the packing slip as well, and in terms of shipping, let's see, I ordered, what was it, like $42 worth of food, and it was $24 via UPS ground shipping, but I believe it's cheaper if you elect to do USPS. Maywa actually told me that if you guys wanted to get a quote on how much the groceries would actually cost in terms of shipping, you can just email Maywa first, because sometimes it is dependent on your location. I can definitely see that if you guys decide to try something small in your initial order and then you end up really liking it, I could see it making more kind of economic sense if in the future you decide to buy in bulk and definitely, you know, save on shipping. Yeah, this is kind of their like packing slip. There's just a ton of products, which is actually pretty cool. So let's see, there are so many things to try. So I'm gonna do the main meal first. So I'm going to do this this vegetarian Buddha's Delight. So it comes in one of these foil lined packets like this. So it's very reminiscent of, you know, some of the curries in a box that you might get. And you can either heat it up via microwave, so you're just gonna put it into the dish. It has instructions in the back, or I actually dipped this into some boiling water and then I cooked it for a little bit. I'm just going to just basically open this bucket. Okay, let's see. It smells really, really good. I mean, if you guys have seen my my Buddha's Delight special as well, I can just put that link down. But basically, there are just different like ingredients that you put in, and you eat it during New Year's, and it's, you know, fortuitous one way or another. So there's actually a lot of stuff in here. So bamboo shoot, there's konjaku, mushrooms, carrots, soy protein, wheat protein, there's fungus strips. I mean, you can definitely see each ingredient in here. It's not really hiding anything. And I think very rarely do you see kind of packaged food like this that doesn't have really any preservatives in it at all. And that's actually something that they mention as well, no preservatives. Actually, all of their soybean protein and whatnot are made with non-GMO soybeans with high fiber and low fat. So it's on all of the boxes. So let me just go ahead and try this first. There's actually a couple of different meats in here, which is why I wanted to try this one first, because there's like a melange of stuff. So the one that I just had, I think it's nondescript. I don't know if it's like beef or if it's whatever, but the one that I had has the texture of kind of like soft meatballs. So it's kind of browned up a little bit more. And there's that texture. This one I imagine is gonna be like the wheat gluten from the can, so a little bit spongy, I think. And I think what's actually interesting is, even though they are all put into one package, actually each of the different meats have a slightly different flavor as well as texture, which is nice. You get the crunchiness from like the bamboo shoots, the konjaku, and then, you know, carrots, and actually the black fungus mushrooms provide like a nice crunch as well, if you guys have never tried that before. I think they're called wood ear mushrooms. I mean, obviously it's not like making it fresh, but it's actually a really good substitute if you guys don't want to make your own Buddha's Delight, to have this, just because there's so many ingredients. Okay, so next I am going to try out the vegetable curry, and it's prepared the same way. I love curry in a bag. Interesting. I feel like it has more kind of like Eastern Asian flavors, like not necessarily like Indian curry or Thai curry, but just like a little bit more mellow. And I will say that this meat looks slightly different from the one that we had in the Buddha's Delight. I mean, it is different. I want to say, like, if it was a meat, I feel like it's reminiscent of chicken, just because I feel like the strands are longer. Like, whereas with the first two, it was kind of like the meatball and the spongy gluten. This one has like a little bit more of kind of like the meat fibers. So I want to say that this is chicken if it was. And it's really weird because like when people don't tell you like, oh, this is vegan beef or this is vegan chicken, and you're like left with this chunk and you eat it, you're like, there's no crazy ingredients in here. Curry powder, galangal, you have your star anise, you have your clove, soy sauce, canola oil, just really basic stuff. There's potatoes and then there's carrots, obviously. It reminds me of curries that I would have in Hong Kong or kind of growing up. It's not like a crazy like hit you in the face curry, but it's kind of like a, if you mixed curry with like, I guess like chicken broth or something, and you kind of like lightened everything down. I mean, it's still very delicious to eat, but it's not like your typical kind of like bagged curry, I guess. It's very savory, it's very good, but definitely not too overpowering in the curry department, and I think it's a little bit lighter of a curry flavor than what most of you guys are used to, but definitely worth giving a try as well. So there's that one. So next, what should we try? Should I even do the spicy jerky? This one says vegetarian. I'm not sure. Let me just kind of double check on it because there is a vegetarian sauce in there. I'm just gonna do this one, and yeah, I wonder how this will compare to kind of the vegan snack meats taste test. If you guys haven't watched that one yet, we tried a couple of these kind of jerky products and they were super, super impressive. A lot of them actually had that like weird meaty flavor. I don't know how people add that into it, but you know, a little bit of that like gamey bloodiness flavor to it. All right, so this is the beef jerky one, and it definitely is more like long fibers. It's more reminiscent of like actual beef jerky, which is interesting because I feel like some vegan like jerkies, they don't look like this, but if you guys can actually see, like I basically ripped it into these long strands and there's long fibers, and it's just very reminiscent of jerky. It's very reminiscent of meat actually, so try that. What is that flavor? I want to say it's like fennelly. It's very interesting. I'm just looking in here. Soy protein, mustard oil, could be that, salt, sugar, and then vegetarian seasonings. This one is really interesting. I definitely think that the texture is like on point. It tastes like jerky. It rips like jerky, it tastes like jerky. It has that like long kind of meat strand thing going. Flavor-wise, I would say it's just a tad bit for me on the sweeter side, but it is very fragrant. Like there's a lot of good seasonings going on in here, and yeah, you could definitely take this onto a road trip. I mean, it's still very delicious. I mean, I'm very surprised that they were able to do this with just I guess soy protein. I probably want to give this a try because it's interesting. It's like flat, and it's kind of like rectangular smushed pieces, so why don't I give this a try too? I mean, I'm not that great with spices, but I think that this is unique enough that I can possibly give it a go. So I don't know if you guys can see this. It kind of looks like fruit leather. It's like thick kind of pieces of, I don't know, like rectangular pieces, and it's supposed to be the spicy jerky, so it's like sometimes at least I've kind of like smelled or sniffed out the product before I try it on air, but this time it is straight from the package. Yeah. Smell-wise is interesting. I always say interesting, it just buys me time to kind of think about what to describe it as. So I want to say that it's like somewhat pungent. I want to say it's a little bit pruny, and it's a little bit like kind of like sweet bean sauce, like black bean sauce, like Asian Chinese black bean sauce. And it has that kind of like backdrop, like it's very kind of savory in the back. It's a little bit meaty, but it also kind of tastes sweet, and there's probably like maybe like, I don't know, star anise or a bunch of other herbs and mixes in here. Let's see. Soy protein, mushrooms, soy sauce, canola oil, sugar, black pepper powder, vegetarian sauce. Okay, yeah, so that's kind of how it smells like. There's some heat in here. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't bring water. I wasn't anticipating on trying like all of these. I'd say texturally it's softer. It's different because like this one definitely reminds me of like jerky, like dried meat jerky, and then this one, if you can kind of see, and I'll zoom in, it's more like it's like a softer patty. It's still meaty. It still could potentially be kind of jerky if you dry it out some more, but it's like it's kind of at an in-between stage of like slightly dried meat and jerky. It's still pretty soft. So I would imagine it's probably good for people that don't like jerky being too dry. Like if you like more moisture in your jerky, if you like it to be a little bit softer. Yeah, the flavor is really spicy. There's actually a good amount of pepper in here. I would say that the flavor is pretty good. I mean, it just tastes like jerky. It's kind of sweet. It's a little bit salty, and peppery as well. So yeah, so this one's interesting. It's a softer type of jerky. So there's that one. Okay, so these are my last two, and I think that the Beat the Heat one was supposed to also come with like a konjac or a konjac jelly barbecue thing as well. It's kind of like made from yams and whatnot, but I think that they probably ran out, and so I got sent the vegan imitation stewed beef and then the imitation spicy beef, and these are the ones where all you need to do is you just reheat and you serve. So that's really spicy. I'm probably just gonna try this this imitation stewed beef. So gonna cut the top off. So if you guys can see, it's everything is kind of shrink wrapped, and these are just reminiscent of like little chunks of meat. It reminds me of soy chunks actually, and soy chunks like marinated. Okay, so I'm just going to try these. So again, you're supposed to reheat them first, and then I imagine mix them with other things. So let me just give these guys a try. So this one, it always takes me a while to describe because I think what's been very cool about tasting all of these meats is so far none of the meats have tasted the same, like with the same texture. Like I understand when, you know, you can have like one type of meat and you flavor it in different ways, but all of these meats have tasted just different. Like they have different textures, they have like different kind of like fibers, different strands, and so it chews differently. I would say that this one reminds me of pork. I feel like the strands are kind of more tightly compact, and it reminds me more of like, yeah, more of red meat than maybe chicken. The flavor, I feel like I can taste a little bit of soy in the backdrop. It's definitely more towards the savory side. I'd say like a little bit more like soy saucy. Let me see what's in it. Soy and wheat protein. You have some sugar, soy sauce, galangal, clove, star anise. Interesting. There's like a lot of sweet spices in here, but maybe it's just in the backdrop. But I feel like this one, it's a little bit more. It's just like a savory flavor to me. Definitely more like salty than the rest of these spices coming through, because I feel like the other ones, those spices came through more, and then this one, it kind of is just like a general kind of meaty flavor. But yeah, it is like softer as well. I don't know, it's hard to describe like meat when it's not meat. All right, should I try this? I mean, there's only one more. I will try it. So I'm gonna do the imitation spicy beef. So simply you just reheat and you serve. So very similar ingredients, but then there's the addition of hot pepper and white pepper, which you guys know I love. Okay, so let's take this bag out. You guys can definitely see that there's some redness going on there. I really feel like I should have gotten some water ahead of time. It was just like in my head, I had planned that I was gonna tell you guys that I would only eat the like the non-spicy bits, and then, you know, here we are, me trying out the more spicy bits. So I've just taken out 2 chunks like this, and again, I imagine you put it in a bunch of other things. Smells really good actually. It's kind of like sweet, soy saucy, just like a tad or like a hint of spiciness in the backdrop, yeah, it's like a very well-rounded type of flavor. I'm waiting a while this time because I'm actually waiting for the heat to come, which I'm glad it's actually towards the front of your mouth that you get the heat. Like the initial kind of bite that kind of scares you a little bit, but as you chew it, this one is something that it doesn't actually get spicier and it doesn't get hotter, which is saying a lot because it's from me. So for those of you who kind of like just like a tinge of spice, you guys might actually like this because it's not too spicy. I'd say that the texture, yeah, I mean the texture, it's the same thing as the stewed beef. It's kind of like a softer, more densely packed meat. And then in terms of flavor, how this is different, I guess, is yeah, I think you kind of get that like white pepperiness at the front and maybe a little bit of the hot pepper towards the front. But in terms of the flavor, it's more salty. There's like a backdrop of something. I imagine it's just an aggregate of all of those spices that they put in the back, but nothing is too overpowering. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you that I tasted like cinnamon or galangal or fennel, which usually is like kind of super potent. These two meats are kind of way more mellow. You just know that something's in the background that you can't totally describe, but all in all, it's kind of like umami kind of soy sauce-ish. So I would say that these two are probably really good for just like general things that you would put meat or beef in that won't affect the flavor of the other stuff too much. And also a good tip for these two especially, I feel these imitation beefs, is if you do happen to put in a recipe where you don't want it to affect the taste of the recipe too much, I would definitely just rinse off the top, because I think a lot of the flavor goes away. And also there's just not a lot of like extraneous flavor in these. So these are definitely good to add to other recipes and not really to have them affect the others too much. So that is really it for the taste test. What did I promise you guys before? I wanted to show you guys actually some of the meats that they sent. I will definitely be doing some recipes with these, and I was so excited to show you guys because it's so cool. So hold on. All right, so these guys came in a separate, I mean it was still in the box, but it came in a separate bag because they required it to be frozen. So I have some beef chunks here. So this is kind of their staple. They have a couple of like beef chunks and chicken teriyaki and chicken nuggets and whatnot. Also got some fish balls, which if you guys have ever been to like Hong Kong or just, you know, other Asian countries, like fish ball and curry sauce, it tastes so good. So I'm very interested to see how those taste. I got some shrimp as well, and then probably this is going to be the one that I'm most excited about. So check that out. This is actually, they call it vegan 3-tiered meat, but essentially it's mimicking pork belly, because you have, you know, the kind of like the fat layer and then the meat layer, and it looks a little bit spongy. And the first time that I looked at it, I thought it kind of looked like a red velvet cake a little bit, just with like the different layers and whatnot. So I'm definitely really interested in trying these, because, you know, in a lot of the Asian recipes there is a ton of pork belly. So I would love to see how this stacks against the real deal. So anyways, there you go guys. It was a fairly long haul. There was a lot of products to go through, but I definitely wanted to try each and every item for you guys, just so that you could get an idea of, you know, the taste and the texture before you guys order. And remember, the giveaway information is going to be down below in the description box, as well as that coupon code. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to, you know, send them my way, or also to email Maywa as well. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this haul, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye.